The Anima, the woman in man. The Anima represents all feminine aspects in a man's psyche, including vague feelings, intuitive hunches, openness to the irrational, capacity for personal love, connection with nature, and his relationship to the unconscious. Traditionally, priestesses were used to interpret divine will and connect with gods, reflecting the importance of the anima. Carl Jung introduced this concept in the early 1920s to elucidate the inner feminine dimension within men. He characterized the anima as the unconscious facet of a man's psyche that extends beyond the individual and enters the realm of the collective unconscious. The term anima finds its root in Latin, denoting soul, and Jung drew associations between the anima and various mythological figures like Aphrodite, Selene, Persephone, Hecate, Minerva, and Pandora. The anima encompasses the entirety of a man's unconscious feminine psychological qualities. Jung asserted that men often downplay or repress their sensitivity, rendering the anima one of the most influential autonomous complexes in their psyche. This inner feminine aspect emerges in dreams and exerts its influence over a man's attitudes and interactions with individuals of the opposite sex. Naturally, the anima is initially rooted in a boy's image of his mother, and as he matures and engages in romantic relationships, this inner figure evolves accordingly. In most cases, both internally and externally, the anima is addressed in a singular form. This means that a man typically projects his anima onto a single woman at any given time. In contrast, women often project their animus onto the collective. While the anima typically manifests as a relatively singular female personality within a man's psyche, the animus may present itself as a conjunction of multiple male personalities. This phenomenon symbolizes the idea that the animus represents a collective rather than a purely personal element within the individual's unconscious. In Carl Jung's model of the psyche, the anima is a fundamental component located within the realm of the unconscious. Jung's model divides the psyche into different layers, each with distinct characteristics and functions. The first layer is the conscious mind, which encompasses thoughts, emotions, and perceptions that are currently within an individual's awareness. It typically represents the realm of everyday conscious thought and rationality. Beneath the conscious mind lies the personal unconscious, where the anima is situated in the case of a man. This layer contains elements from an individual's personal history, including forgotten memories, repressed emotions, and unresolved conflicts. The anima represents the inner feminine aspect within a man's personal unconscious, evolving as he relates to more mature romantic relationships and experiences. Beyond the personal unconscious is the collective unconscious, the deepest layer of the psyche. It contains universal, archetypal elements shared by all humans across cultures and history. Archetypes like the anima and animus reside in between this collective layer and personal layer, influencing and shaping individuals' experiences and behaviors. Therefore, the anima is specifically located within a man's personal unconscious, but is influenced by and connected to the broader realm of the collective unconscious, where archetypal forces exert their influence on the human psyche. It is helpful to think of the anima representing eros and the animus as logos, with each corresponding to the unconscious aspect of their conscious counterpart. Namely, eros, feeling, resides in a man's unconscious, whereas logos, thinking, resides in a woman's unconscious. The core of the psyche, known as the self, typically shows itself in a four-fold structure, as Jung has explained. The number 4 is also linked to the anima, which Jung observed to develop in 4 stages. The first stage is symbolized by Eve, representing instinctual and biological relations. The second stage is seen in characters like Faust's Helen, embodying a romantic and aesthetic level still marked by sexual elements. The third stage, exemplified by the Virgin Mary, elevates love, eros, to spiritual devotion. The fourth type, symbolized by Sophia, represents wisdom transcending even the most holy and pure. Modern man rarely reaches this fourth stage, with the Mona Lisa coming closest to embodying the wisdom anima. Jung posited that the anima development unfolds through four discernible stages of eros, which he designated as Eve, Helen, Mary, and Sophia, in the practice of psychotherapy. In a general sense, the overarching trajectory of anima development in men revolves around the male individual embracing his emotional side. This development leads to a broader sense of spirituality characterized by the emergence of a novel, conscious framework that incorporates intuitive processes, creativity, imagination, and heightened psychic sensitivity, aspects that might not have been as pronounced in his personality before due to men having logos in his consciousness. In the initial stage, referred to as Eve, drawing inspiration from the Genesis account of Adam and Eve, a man grapples with the emergence of his object of desire. Here, the anima is intrinsically intertwined with the feminine figure as the source of nourishment, security, and love. At this level of anima development, a man's ability to function effectively is heavily reliant on a woman, and he may find himself easily swayed or controlled by her, or rather by his idealized and imaginary perception of her. Undeveloped in many instances, he might experience impotence or a lack of intimate sexual desire. In the next stage, symbolized by Helen, in reference to Helen of Troy from Greek mythology, women are seen as potential achievers in the worldly sense. They are perceived as self-reliant, intelligent, and insightful, although not necessarily virtuous. This phase marks a significant division between external accomplishments, such as business acumen and conventional skills, and internal qualities, which might be lacking in terms of virtue, faith, or imagination. His work will be dry. In the third phase, represented by Mary in reference to the Virgin Mary in Christian theology, women are perceived as righteous and paragons of virtue. At this stage, men may see women as possessing virtue, even in an esoteric or dogmatic manner. Certain activities that are consciously considered unvirtuous cannot be attributed to them in the eyes of the perceiving man. Here, the feminine aspect is seen only in the light and possesses no dark qualities. In the fourth and final phase of anima development, known as Sophia, after the Greek word for wisdom, a complete integration has taken place. Women are now perceived and related to as unique individuals who possess both positive and negative qualities. At this advanced level, the anima is fully developed, and it becomes apparent that no single object can comprehensively and permanently contain the images associated with it. The man understands that this divine feminine figure exists within, and he can separate his internal woman with the external human woman. Very few men can achieve this ultimate state of integration. In the context of Jungian psychology, anima projection refers to the psychological phenomenon in which a person projects their inner anima onto an object, typically a woman, though men also project the anima onto inanimate objects like cars, ships, or even structures like a church. This projection occurs when an individual attributes certain qualities, characteristics, or expectations related to the anima to another person or object, often unconsciously. A man can project his anima onto a woman in various ways, often unconsciously. One common way is through idealization. In this process, the man might idealize the woman, seeing her as embodying all the qualities he associates with his inner anima, depending on which stage of his anima development. These qualities could include attributes like nurturing, emotional depth, intuition, and creativity. He may view her as the perfect partner who fulfills his deepest emotional needs and desires, placing unrealistic expectations on her, often attributed to a divine immortal goddess. Projection of the anima can lead to idealization or objectification of the projected person, as the individual may perceive them through the lens of their own unconscious anima fantasies. It can also create challenges and conflicts in relationships when the projected qualities do not align with the reality of the other person, As long as the superimposition holds, things go well, but this never lasts because she is and always will be a human being. Projecting the anima onto someone in a sudden and intense love affair can disrupt a man's marriage, creating a human triangle with challenges. A workable solution to this drama arises when the anima is acknowledged as an inner force, initiating the maturation of his psychological development. The unconscious seeks to provoke such entanglements to compel a man to grow and mature by integrating more of his unconscious personality into his actual life. Another way anima projection occurs is through expectations. The man may unconsciously expect women to behave in ways that align with his anima projections. For example, he might expect her to always be understanding, nurturing, or intuitive. When she doesn't meet these expectations, it can lead to deep disappointment or destructive conflict in the relationship. Projection of the anima can also manifest in how the man perceives the woman's actions and reactions. He may interpret her behaviors through the lens of his projected anima, attributing meaning to her actions based on his inner fantasies and desires rather than her actual intentions. He may blame her for her sensitivity when in fact they arise from his own touchiness, as his inner woman often is in her undeveloped form. Furthermore, a man may project his unresolved anima-related issues onto the woman. This could involve projecting past emotional wounds or insecurities onto her, leading to misunderstandings or emotional outbursts. In essence, the process of projecting the anima onto women can impact the dynamics of their relationship and hinder genuine understanding, connection, and communication unless the man becomes aware of this projection and works to integrate his inner anima aspects consciously. This does not take into account a woman with her unconscious animus aspect. The origins of a man's anima is influenced by his mother. If this influence is negative, it can lead to irritable, depressed states, uncertainty, insecurity, and a debilitating moodiness. It is only when he can overcome these negative influences that he is able to actually reinforce his masculinity. However, within the soul of such a man, the negative anima, mother figure, will endlessly repeat a theme of hopelessness, whispering in his ear that he is nothing, that he has no meaning or purpose, that life itself is meaningless. These anima moods induce a sense of dullness and fear of disease, impotence, or accidents. Extreme cases may even lead to suicidal thoughts, transforming the anima into a death demon. The French term for such an anima figure is femme fatale, while Greek sirens or the German Lorelei symbolize the destructive, illusory aspect of the anima. In a man's fantasy, the negative anima may be revealed through sarcastic, poisonous, effeminate remarks that devalue everything, subtly distorting the truth in a destructive manner. Conversely, if a man's experience with his mother has been positive, it can influence his anima in predictable yet distinct ways. In its too positive aspect, it may lead him to becoming effeminate or being vulnerable to the influence of women, struggling to handle life's challenges, a mother's boy. Such anima tendencies can transform men into sentimentalists, make them as touchy as old maids, or as sensitive as the fairy tale princess who could feel a pea under 30 mattresses. A more subtle, negative manifestation of the anima appears in certain fairy tales where a princess poses riddles or challenges to suitors. If they cannot answer or hide successfully, they must die, and she consistently triumphs. In this guise, the anima engages men in a destructive intellectual game. This anima trick is evident in neurotic pseudo-intellectual conversations that hinder a man from directly engaging with life and making real decisions. Excessive reflection on life can lead to an inability to live it, resulting in the loss of spontaneity and outgoing feelings. The anima often appears in the form of erotic fantasies. Men may indulge in these fantasies by watching films, striptease shows, or daydreaming over explicit material, a form of projecting his unconscious anima material. This represents a crude and primitive aspect of the anima, becoming compulsive when a man neglects cultivating his feeling connections and maintains an immature attitude toward life. similar to what we observed in the shadow. All these anima aspects have the tendency to be projected, making them seem like the qualities of a particular woman. However, the anima can also lead a man to suddenly fall in love upon first sight, recognizing her as the one. In this situation, the man feels an intimate connection as if he has known her forever, falling for her so helplessly that it may appear as complete insanity to others watching. Women with a dainty fairy-like feminine character are perfect targets for these anima projections, as their mysterious nature allows men to attribute their fantastical qualities onto them and weave fantasies around them. A woman of this nature can easily capture men and play their anima. In a destructive form, she can easily manipulate him in a play for power. In a constructive form, she becomes the projection of his soul and connects him spiritually. The negative anima in a man represents the dark or destructive aspects of his unconscious feminine side. It often arises when a man fails to integrate or reconcile his inner feminine aspects, leading to the projection of these negative qualities onto women or the anima figures in his life. One manifestation of the negative anima is irrationality. It can be characterized by unpredictable emotional reactions, mood swings, and outbursts of anger or sadness that seem to have no logical basis. These emotional responses can create confusion and discord in relationships with women, particularly in marriages. Another aspect of the negative anima is manipulation. When this negative archetype is dominant, a man may unconsciously employ manipulative tactics in his interactions with women. He might engage in passive-aggressive behavior, emotional blackmail, or attempts to control others, all of which can strain relationships and create a toxic dynamic. Additionally, the negative anima can contribute to a man's unrealistic or idealized expectations of women. He may project unrealistic fantasies onto women, expecting them to fulfill all his emotional needs and desires. When these expectations are inevitably unmet, it can lead to disappointment and resentment. Furthermore, the negative anima can manifest as a critical and judgmental attitude towards women. A man under the influence of this archetype may be overly critical of female qualities or traits, projecting his own insecurities onto women and reinforcing negative stereotypes. In short, the negative anima in a man represents the shadowy and destructive aspects of his unconscious feminine side. It can lead to irrational behavior, manipulation, unrealistic expectations, and critical judgments of women, ultimately affecting his relationships and overall psychological well-being. The anima has vitally important positive roles. It helps a man find the right marriage partner and grants him intuition when his rational mind fails. Even more crucial is its role in aligning a man's mind with the right inner values, opening the way to deeper inner depths. It's like tuning an inner radio to a specific wavelength, filtering out irrelevant noise and allowing the voice of the great man, the self, to be heard. In establishing this inner radio reception, the anima serves as a guide or mediator to the world within and to the self. The positive anima in a man represents the integrated and harmonious aspects of his inner feminine side. It signifies a balanced and healthy relationship with his own feminine qualities. This positive anima embodies several essential traits and functions. Firstly, the positive anima allows a man to access and express a wide range of emotions in a healthy and authentic manner. It enriches his emotional life, enabling him to connect with others on a deeper, more meaningful level. Instead of being dominated by erratic mood swings or emotional suppression, he can harness his emotional intelligence for personal growth and improved relationships. Furthermore, the positive anima nurtures creativity, imagination, and intuition. It encourages innovative thinking and the exploration of new ideas, making a man more receptive to inspiration and artistic expression. This heightened imaginative capacity can lead to greater problem-solving abilities and a more enriched inner world, bringing color to his black and white life. The positive anima also plays a crucial role in fostering healthy relationships. It allows a man to view women as complete and human individuals with their own unique qualities, rather than mere projections of his unconscious desires or stereotypes. This perspective promotes genuine respect, empathy, and equality in relationships, contributing to more fulfilling and harmonious connections with others. The positive anima empowers a man to embrace and integrate his inner feminine aspects, leading to emotional depth, creativity, and healthier relationships. It represents a balanced and mature expression of the feminine within the male psyche. So, what does the anima's role as a guide to the inner world mean in practical terms? This positive function comes into play when a man takes his anima feelings, moods, expectations, and fantasies seriously, and expresses them in some form, like writing, painting, sculpture, musical composition, or dancing. Patient and slow work in this manner allows deeper unconscious material to surface and connect with earlier elements. Once a fantasy is expressed, it needs to be examined intellectually and ethically, with a sincere emotional response. This is the process of integrating a man's unconscious eros factor. Exploring personal relationships is another crucial avenue. A man can reflect on his interactions with women, both past and present, and analyze his emotional reactions, attractions, and conflicts. These interactions often mirror aspects of the anima. Recognizing recurring patterns or themes in these relationships can offer insights into the anima's characteristics. As mentioned before, artistic and creative endeavors can also help in identifying the anima. Engaging in creative activities like painting, writing, or music can allow the anima to express itself symbolically. The themes, symbols, and emotions that emerge in these creative outlets may shed light on the anima's presence and nature. Identifying the anima is an ongoing process that requires self-reflection, introspection, and a willingness to explore the depths of one's psyche. By engaging with dreams, relationships, and creativity, a man can gradually uncover the various aspects of his anima and work towards a more harmonious inner balance. It's crucial to perceive these aspects as entirely real, without any lingering doubt that they are mere fantasies. With consistent dedication over time, the process of individuation becomes the primary reality, unfolding in its true form. The integrated anima embodies several characteristic qualities that contribute to a balanced and harmonious inner life. These qualities include the capacity for self-soothing, self-nurturing, and self-love, allowing for a sense of inner well-being. It provides access to creative inspiration, fostering imaginative and innovative thinking. This integrated aspect of the psyche exhibits a strong inner center and containment, promoting emotional stability. It enables empathy and the ability to make value judgments that extend beyond pure rationality. Moreover, the integrated anima grants access to a rich emotional life, fostering good relatedness and happiness in one's inner world. In other words, a man who has integrated his anima has found his soul within himself, and for him, life is revitalized, restoring meaning to his world. The unintegrated anima often exhibits a set of characteristic qualities that manifest in a less harmonious manner. These qualities include an uncontained nature, constantly seeking external affirmation and validation. It often lacks creativity, leading to a limited imaginative capacity. This aspect of the psyche can be prone to moodiness and may display a somewhat irritable or bitchy demeanor. It tends to struggle with forming healthy relationships, often engaging in behavior designed to isolate the person from others. The anima, in its unconscious manifestation, seeks to isolate a man and wreak havoc in interpersonal relationships. Additionally, the unintegrated anima may manifest masochistic tendencies, exhibit greediness and a grasping nature, and display narcissistic tendencies. An example of an unintegrated anima in a man related to addiction might involve a man who consistently seeks solace and escape from his unresolved emotional issues through substance abuse. In this case, the man may have a deeply displaced anima that manifests as emotional turmoil, moodiness, and a sense of inner emptiness which is likely to cause depression. He might project his idealized anima onto the effects of drugs or alcohol, believing that they provide the emotional fulfillment and nurturing he craves. Consequently, he becomes addicted to these substances as a way to temporarily soothe his emotional pain and fill the void left by the unintegrated anima. The addiction in this scenario serves as a coping mechanism to suppress his inner turmoil and mask his emotional fragility. However, it's a destructive and unsustainable way of dealing with the underlying issue. Until he confronts and integrates his anima by addressing his emotional needs and learning healthier coping strategies, the cycle of addiction is likely to persist. The unintegrated anima continues to exert its influence, driving him towards substance abuse as a means of escape from his inner struggles. An example of an integrated anima in a man related to addiction might involve a man who has successfully addressed and integrated his anima, resulting in emotional balance and a sense of wholeness. In this case, he no longer seeks external substances to escape or numb his emotions because he has developed healthier ways of coping with life's challenges. Having integrated his anima, this man may have learned to express his emotions openly and constructively, relying on self-soothing techniques and self-nurturing rather than turning to addictive substances. He has developed a strong sense of inner nurturing and self-love, reducing the need for external validation or comfort through addiction. Furthermore, his integrated anima contributes to his overall emotional intelligence and empathy, allowing him to connect with others on a deeper level and seek emotional support when needed. He is more capable of making thoughtful, value-based decisions rather than impulsively turning to addictive behaviors. In modern dreams and active imagination, the anima is often seen with a father figure. This hints at the masculine spiritual element beneath the feminine nature. The spiritual factor is linked to the knowledge of hidden aspects in these feminine beings. Jung calls it the old wise man, or the archetype of meaning, while he identifies the anima as the archetype of life. The crucial element in the unconscious is essential for consciousness development. It's comparable to Paracelsus's idea of lumen naturae, or the light of nature, an unseen illumination that affects a person like a dream. Paracelsus proposes that because the light of nature can't communicate verbally, it creates forms in sleep under the influence of the divine word. Both the nature creature and the anima represent the eros principle. The former shares hidden knowledge, while the latter conveys information about the unconscious. Both possess a captivating influence and significant power which can lead to destructive consequences, especially when specific conditions in the relationship are unmet. In many legends, unsatisfactory outcomes occur when the connection between the individual and the elemental creature, or the conscious ego and the anima, is not fulfilled. It's clear that such a connection is delicate, much like the relationship with the anima itself. Based on our experiences, the anima places specific demands on a man, insisting on acknowledgement rather than being neglected, as is often the prevailing tendency when men strongly identify with their masculinity. Here, it is not about entirely giving up on masculinity for the lady anima or losing her completely. Instead, it's about allowing space for the feminine, which is a natural part of a man's being. This is done by recognizing and embracing eros, the principle of relationships. A man needs to be aware of his feelings and use value judgment inherent in feeling. This judgment is crucial. Men often focus on objects or work, while women prioritize personal relationships. The anima reflects this tendency, seeking to involve a man in such relationships. She can also play a constructive role once the feminine element is integrated into consciousness. However, when this element operates independently or autonomously, it can disrupt or make relationships unattainable. Insights from depth psychology emphasize the vital need for modern individuals to reconcile with the unconscious, at least for many. In this context, the relationship between a man and his anima is crucial, while for women, the connection with her animus is of utmost importance. These elements act as a bridge, facilitating the link to the broader unconscious realm and to the self. But because the anima, or eros principle in a man, is unconscious, a man first projects his anima onto real women, which can lead to a relationship that might otherwise seem unattainable. However, this projection can also lead to excessive dependency on the woman, often with negative consequences. As long as a man continues projecting his anima onto external women, it creates challenges in connecting with his inner anima, his own femininity. In dreams, female figures without specific associations will often appear as strangers, the unknown, or the veiled woman. In legends and myths, they may even take on non-human forms. These dreams metaphorically represent the disconnected aspect a man has with his eros, and can have a deep emotional impact, suggesting an inner psychic dimension that requires a meaningful recognition and relationship. The anima, whether called the Great Mother, Goddess of Love, or by any other name, should be revered in her archetypal aspect. However, a man needs to accept his personal anima, his inherent femininity, as a companion and supplement without letting it rule over him. In today's divided era where disruptive forces fracture societies and individuals, the need for unifying influences is crucial. Life depends on the harmonious interplay of both masculine and feminine energies within each person and in the world. Integrating these opposing elements is a key goal in modern psychotherapy.